Welcome back to the Dopesick Show you won't get sick of. I'm Spencer, and this is my sidekick, Sasha. Spent most of my 20s in federal prison, but I've been off heroin since April 9, 2010. Got a lot of stories about the dumb stuff I did to get put in prison. I also got a lot of stories about the crazy stuff that happened when I was actually in prison. And God forbid you end up in prison, you won't to make some of the same mistakes I made. So this is one that, is a funny one, okay? So, I don't have anything against people that are from certain places, but there's one particular place that, certain stuff came from this particular location in terms of behaviors. Let's just say that. So anyway, there's this guy, Mike, and there's this guy, Willie Mo, who talked like this, who I actually had a run-in with. And now Petersburg, it's a very interesting place. It's like the Twilight Zone of prisons. Like, literally, you can't really comprehend what I'm saying. Like, even being there, you still can't believe what you're seeing. So half the people are locals, and 40% plus are chomos because they have a program for them. They have a program called the SALT program that they have to do. So you got this weird dynamic, right? You've got this weird dynamic of people that are locals, and you got this weird dynamic of people that are deviants. So a lot of times when it comes to the bandits, as they're called, I never heard that word in prison, by the way. Bandit, booty bandit, I never heard that. I didn't hear that till I got out, on YouTube. They just called them weirdos, predators, stuff like that. So a lot of the time, those type of people look for people that ain't going to fight back. Look for people that are scared. Look for people that probably just watch too much TV, too much movies, and they think, there's an easy way and a hard way. So, do with me as you may, sir, is basically how they respond to all that. So, when you get 40% of the people that are chomos, a lot of the people that ended up at this place, at Petersburg, Medium specifically, were not criminals of a normal criminal element, okay? Like, they were not people who were hustlers, any of that type of stuff. So what you get is you get weirdos that did awful things, but when they get to prison, they're scared, as they should be. They should live every day in fear. It's my personal belief. But anyway, yeah, they should be scared and everything else, but because they're scared, they believe basically, well, it's going to happen anyway, so might as well, or whatever, something like that. And a lot of the times, that's who these people target. So when you get certain people that might be into that type of thing, and then you get such a huge population of these scared people that are easy targets, easy marks, guess what happens? This is what happens. They basically, you get a higher percentage of this type of thing happening. So at the time, I was thinking, oh my God, my life sucks, okay? And it did. My life sucked being around just this foolish craziness that I had to be subjected to because of my choices. But anyway, so, but it's given me so many stories, like I can't even count. It was like a living soap opera with some of this stuff, with some of the stuff that you'd be surrounded by. And ultimately, you get a new person there, that certain people, target and stuff like that. It's people usually pair up pretty quick. Just say that they pick people pair up with pretty quick, and that's how it goes. Now Willie Mo was a big old dude. Like if you hear Bubba's gonna get you in jail, Willie Mo was Bubba come to life. Like literally, he even talks like this. There's that movie Let's Go to Prison, and that one dude who's like, want some wine? I made it in the toilet. Like that could be Willie Mo, okay? Yeah. And then the other dude, Mike, younger guy, not as much you guess. A lot of times you get these weird older inmates that have a whole lot of time, that end up being like this, but at Petersburg, there are younger ones too, and there were street people that were known for being hustlers, being people that were active on the street, that as one of their proclivities. So anyway, this new person gets put at Petersburg Medium, comes out, and obviously, this guy looks like like the Mad Magazine guy, okay? He looked kind of like him. small guy, looks like he's like 14 or 15. He's in there for some pretty foul stuff, okay? He's a chomo, without question. Now, if you're into, what I mean, live your life, you got certain choices, that's whatever. But now, I just think about it this way. Like, I try to understand why people do the things they do, and I quit doing that with certain people in here because you literally drive yourself crazy. But just think about this, let's say if there was a girl that you're talking to, and you found out this girl was a chomo, or she's on the registry, she done some type of stuff like that. That pretty much sour and foul your opinion of that girl, right? Okay. Well, with these people, they have certain interests, might swing a certain way, which, God bless you if you do, live your life too short, you know what I mean, everything else, don't judge anybody what they do. Just as long as you don't tell me what to do, I don't care. So, something like that happened with me. I was in prison doing the prison pen pals thing, after I broke up with my hussy ex. There was a girl I'd been writing for a little bit, and she was in jail too. There was a third party passing letters back and forth, and I found out that in visitation with the father of her children who had been locked up, that she tried to sneak stuff in her baby's stuff, like baby's diapers or something. Okay, to me, I mean, that's not a chomo thing, nothing like that. But that was enough. That was enough of a moral dilemma for me to be like, yeah, no, I can't talk to this girl anymore, because there's a certain sense of right and wrong that you have. So with people with this, you would imagine that they, even if they do go that way, that they would have a certain level of morals. But the ultimate, moral of what I'm trying to tell you is there are certain people that have zero morals, zero anything. Certain people that just are sick, okay, basically. It does not matter. They see this person as a human piece of meat. Yeah. So anyway, this person gets there, and you see, basically, they're two different guys. There's Willie Mo and there's Mike that are pushing up on this person. And you'd see them getting a number of arguments about this, and you could sense it. There's rules I got told whenever I went to prison by the old timers, but when I was in jail, said don't do drugs, don't gamble, don't mess with punks. And I ain't saying punks to hurt anybody's feelings. That's a jail term, and that's something you'll hear if you do go to jail. So, just know that may be. But in that type of thing, yeah, some of the most serious stuff. Like, people take that stuff seriously. Just letting you know. It's a serious issue. So, you heard about it and you saw, certain things, and they get in these arguments and everything else. And yeah, it was all over this person. So you'd see Mike around this person, this little Mad Magazine looking dude. And then at other times you'd see Willie Mo around this dude. And if one of them was talking to the dude, the other one walked out and saw that the other one was already talking to him, then you'd see the other one just mean mugging and everything else. So you were like, oh Lord, it's a fight basically to find out which one of these persons gonna to have this happen. And this was something that happened a number of times. There was a story I've told before about somebody that came in, and there was a devout Muslim of 10 years that just left his Muslim brothers, and somebody else started pushing up. And man, that was pretty brutal, pretty violent how that one ended. That's in a previous story I've told. But this one, you kind of see these things slowly starting to happen, slowly starting to come together. So it's happening. Like, they keep on getting in this little, battle to make somebody their property. And like I said, if you go to jail, if you go to prison, and obviously chomos they're more susceptible to certain types of people pushing up and, doing certain things like this. But I've seen absolute tiny, scrawny guys that, just had that attitude, I ain't scared a bit, do what you want to try to do, and you can try to, but I can't promise you what'll happen back. And they were absolutely fine. Like, aside from that dude Ghost, who went on his rampage, it lasted a couple months. For the most part, it wasn't like the Ant-Man. There were a couple other times, too. I told that one story about those new people that it just randomly happened in the guard that was out for a smoke break for 45 to an hour. That was horrible. That was like, Just, you don't always have to, like, if certain things you hear can mess you up. Like, if you're forced to hear something that's that terrible actually happening and you know it's happening, it's something that can stick with you, something that does stick with you over time. But just the fact of being willing to speak up. So anyway, it all comes to a head, and you know that something's going to happen. You know something inevitably is going to happen. Now, this, and it's kind of funny too, because the Willie Mo guy, he didn't come outside all too often. A lot of times when somebody stays inside too long, there's reasons for that. Like the ghost dude, he stood inside so long to come find out he had a history at other prisons. Sometimes people are hiding, and you can go months, 6 months, sometimes forever in a prison and never see somebody. Based on if you've got a building, you eat in order of which building's cleanest to which one's dirtiest. So if your building typically is in the top 3 cleanest and the other person's is in the top 3 dirtiest, and you got somebody that doesn't go out on the yard that much and you got another person that don't go out at all, there are people that you will not see pretty much the entirety of the time that you are in there. So, but anyway, Willie Mo goes outside and you sense something happening. You watch it, and it's human soap opera come to life. You don't have too many things that are there for entertainment. So basically what happens is, you see it happening. You see something getting ready to happen, and I'm watching. So the bathroom outside is in the center, pretty much the center of the rec yard at the medium security. At the low security, trying to think, I don't believe they had an outdoor restroom at low security. The outdoor restroom at low security, I believe, was inside of the indoor rec. Which the indoor rec at the low security is huge. It's literally like a high school gymnasium, like ceilings. It's literally as big with bleachers and everything. Indoor rec at the medium was a joke. It was like 20 by 30 foot with the treadmills that were like hamster wheels. You didn't plug them in. You had to dig your feet in them to get them going. So, but at the medium, it's in the middle of everything. They got a basketball court at the medium with some bleachers under a pavilion, one of those things that goes over top, but in case it rains. But that's outside in the middle of the yard. The yard at the medium was a piece of trash, and it's half the size of that at the low, which is ironic because it's like 50% more people at the medium. So there's a cop in a car, a CO in a car that sits on a hill that overlooks the yard. And they can't watch you using the bathroom. So there's a wall. You can't see what's going on. There's a wall here. And then on the other side, it comes up to about 4 feet high. So people on that side could see. But people would hide behind there and, smoke, do whatever. But it's also where people would fight. There's only one open end. And it's a whole lot harder for them to see. A lot of the cameras didn't hit this place. They're not allowed to. They can't watch you doing that. So ultimately, they end up in there. And yeah, Willie Mo's a big man. Willie Mo's a big man. And, they get into it. It wasn't all that technical. Now Mike did his best. He did his best to get him. They both started swinging, and Mike was hitting him a good many times. But when you don't know how to prevent somebody like that from getting a hold of you, and somebody like that's that big and that much more mass gets a hold of you, and they slam you down, Willie Mo got a hold of him. Now he got tagged up a good many times beforehand. But he eventually got a hold of him and whop, dropped him right on, dropped him hard. And it's concrete inside of there. So he dropped him hard and he started raining it down for probably about 20 seconds. And that was it. Came out meat mugging, huffing, puffing, trying to puff at his chest, looked like he did something special. And that was that. Willie Mo, pretty much that was like, like animals out in the wild, like asserting their dominance or something. Claimed him a boy. Yeah. There's a lot more stories about Willie Mo and Mike. They're both from the same place. Funny little detail about that. And I have nothing against people from any certain place. And I had no idea that certain people from certain places are more likely than other places until I got in there and I personally saw it. And then I was like, God, what? Not what? What? like Lil Jon. What? That's what you were like. You're like, how many people from this area are doing that? Are you serious? I mean, it was a thing. But anyway, yeah, it's just one of the cases of when something like this happens. So anyway, if you like the video, press the like button. If not, it's 14 minutes and 43 seconds of your life in which you'll never get back. All this stuff, when it happened, I thought, Why Virginia, the place where I live, the place that I get put because I'm close to home? Did I have to end up in a place that is this much of a twilight zone of prisons? The only upside I can think to any of this is that it's making for stories that certain people are entertained by. At the time, it absolutely sucked. I mean, okay, this was awful to have to live around this stuff. Like, it's crazy. But it's left me with a good many stories. So I've got a whole lot more stories about Willie Mo, Mike, because these stories would get passed around. Prison's like a gospel. It's like Mean Girls for men. Only men are face tattoos, and they might shank you in the face. And, you know, one of them might run around and try to hit you with a meat shank, you know. But yeah, these stories get passed around. People in there, that's all people do is, you know, gossip, tell stories, lift weights, or whatever you're into, plus gossip. You hear all the stories. They get circulated around there. So there's a good many more to come. But that's it for this one.